Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Video Store Memoirs. I'm your host, Kevin Salina, here to talk to you today about the movie Equalizer 3. Let's go to our friends at IMDb and get the little bit of synopsis of what this movie is all about before we get started. Robert McCall finds himself at home in southern Italy, but he discovers his friends are under the control of local crime bosses. As events turn deadly, McCall knows what he has to do: become his friend's protector by taking on the mafia. Okay, so once again, straightforward, to the point, exactly what is happening in this movie. This is part 3, as we said earlier, of Denzel Washington's action extravaganza. This one I found a little different than the 2 previous chapters, and I say chapters because even though they call this the final chapter, we know Hollywood, if it's a success, there's always a possibility of another one. But anyway, this one I found different to its predecessors because seems like they went a totally different route. The 2 previous movies, Denzel's Robert McCall takes on, a client or tries to protect a particular person, to help them when all else fails. The legal system or police can't get the justice that they require. This one seems a little different. The movie starts out normal, you assume he's on a mission like his normal self, but he ends up hurt, injured, almost dead, and is taken in by this small Italian community who help nurse him back to health and allows him to become part of their community. They're very tight-knit. Everybody knows who everybody is. It's like one of those little local towns you find in the South where, it's population 500 people, something weird like that. The reason I said that this is more different is because this movie took a different turn to the fact that we see Robert McCall go through something you've never seen before. He's having one of those moments you see in some action movies of the man who's known violence his entire life, but is trying to find a way to, leave that life behind. He's found peace for once. He's found a bunch of people who just want to know him. They're happy with just knowing who he is. They don't care about his past. And he's able to relax and start to have what for him would be a normal life. But when he notices things going on around him, like he does with what he's been trained to see, he has to, this kind of like talk with his conscience. Do I don that dark side of myself again to protect what I've found? And it takes a little while for him to make the decision of what is the right way to handle the situation. Do I just let things fall, the chips fall where they may, or do I need to intervene, as it were? I thought this movie was pretty darn good. The brutalness of the violence is I'd say it only enters the picture when it really is needed. Previous movies, you just see him taking people out left and right, hundreds of thousands of people. I'm exaggerating on the number, but there's violence all over the place. This movie, it's very strategic. There's some spots here and there, the opening sequence, the ending of the movie, or third act, as it were, but it's a little more subdued on the violence part as opposed to the other movies. I did find one part that was really cool that they did in the casting. Besides Denzel Washington as McCall, they had Dakota Fanning as a partner, as it were. Now, the part that makes this really interesting, the 2 of them, I don't believe, have worked together since his movie, I think back in 2006, Man on Fire, where he played the protector to Dakota Fanning's character. So it was kind of interesting to see the two, like, you know, this young girl, now as a full grown adult, having a back and forth with him, you know, who's the smarter of the two. So I did like that touch to it. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. Like I said, it was a little weird not seeing the action that it was set up as in previous movies. But still, otherwise, completely entertaining. It did its job. It's, like I said, it's, if it doesn't have a follow-up movie, it's a great closing to a possible trilogy. If it does, if something does come along, I wouldn't be surprised, because Denzel seems to really like this movie. He likes the director that he's been working with, and the same director for all three films, Antoine Fuqua. Yeah, so I would say I'd probably give this 3.5 to 4 clamshells. It's pretty darn good. But yeah, that's it. That is my thoughts on the movie Equalizer 3. We're going to have more stuff coming your way. We have a bunch of new movies that we're getting set to record, and a couple of opinion ones that we'd like to put out there, and we'll poll you fine people and figure out what exactly isn't, how you feel about certain things. You can find us anywhere. For those of you who have tuned in, thank you as always for tuning in. For those of you who want to recommend us to anyone, take a look. You can find us everywhere. Video Store Memoirs, except for on Twitter. Yes, I said Twitter. Video Store Mem. Everywhere else, Video Store Memoirs is the keywords to find us anywhere. As I just said, thank you so much for checking back in. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the movie.